how to manage your money using the 50-30-20 rule. You might be wondering, what is the 50-30-20 rule? It's all about budgeting and understanding where your money goes. In an ideal budget, 50% needs 30%, wants 20%. Savings or paying off debt. Now that we have a visual idea, let's break down each of these parts and give some examples. It's important to remember that we are talking about money after taxes. This is called net income. For example, your salary might be $60,000 per year, but after taxes, you receive less. It's this net income that we use in the calculations. Now let's talk about the 50%, necessary expenses. What goes into this? These are normal living expenses: groceries, housing, mortgage or rent, health insurance, utilities, electricity, and other bills. I define a necessity as something you cannot live without or something that would make your life much more difficult. For example, food, housing, basic services. When you allocate 50% of your budget to needs, these are the kinds of expenses that should go into this category. Now let's move on to wants, 30%. I think this is where many people confuse wants and needs. A want is something you can live without, but that makes life more enjoyable. For example, subscriptions like Spotify, buying a new oven, going to cafes. Ask yourself, if I give this up, will my life just be a little less convenient, but I can still live? Then it's a want, not a necessity. Some examples: shopping, a new car, cafes, and eating out. Many people eat out often because their lives are very busy, but technically it is a want, not a necessity. Hobbies also belong here. I believe every person should have a hobby. It's one of the joys of life. It could be swimming, painting, any other activity, but it still belongs in the wants category because you can live without it. Now let's move on to the last 20%. Although all of this sounds simple until you start tracking your expenses, you may not notice how your wants begin to take the place of necessary expenses. Then spending grows and you may find yourself in debt every month. So let's talk about savings and debt. The last 20% of your income should go toward savings and paying off debt. For example, an emergency fund. I recommend having 6 to 12 months of expenses saved. For example, if your family spends $3,000 per month, then your emergency fund should be about $13,000 to $25,000. Yes, this may sound like a large amount, but if a layoff or financial problem happens, this fund can help you a lot. These 20% can also be used for paying off credit cards, student loan payments, and other debts. And of course, retirement savings belong here. I think that in 20 to 30 years, many people will face financial problems because they are not saving for retirement. I know a lot of this may sound like obvious things, but until you create a monthly budget where your income is divided into 50%, 30%, 20%, you may be surprised where your money is actually going. That's all. Thank you for watching.